On November 8th, 2022, Pat Dubois tweeted, "As a Canadian, this is how it feels watching American elections these days. And there's an election result between Everyone Gets a Puppy, which gets 50.1, and Diarrhea Forever, which gets 49.9. This is Museum of Twitter, the show where we talk about the most important tweets in the history of Twitter.com. It's Subscriber Sunday, where my Patreon subscribers nominate and then vote on which tweet I cover. And this week, they chose a tweet that quickly became canonical in election conversations. Now, this episode is going to be a test of who comments before watching the whole video, because yes, I'm aware that lots of people criticize this meme because they say that the Democrats really shouldn't be called Everyone Gets a Puppy. If you go to this actual tweet, basically every response, every quote, every reply is someone pointing this out. People like Ben saying, "I think it's more like Diarrhea Forever with glitter versus Diarrhea Forever." Tiffany Congress, who makes the blue Diarrhea Forever and the red literally fascism. Or Bartleby the poster, who says, "No, it's Diarrhea Forever or Diarrhea Forever, but you might get tax credits to subsidize the cost of your toilet subscription." I wanted to get that out of the way first and foremost because, yes, that is the extremely common criticism of this tweet. And I want to discuss how this tweet is used as a meme, and I feel like if the comments are nothing but people saying, the Democrats are also basically Diarrhea Forever, then, that will stymie any other discussion I want to have. But those criticisms are noted. Although I will say, speaking in November of 2025, as I've watched hundreds of thousands of people get snatched off the street, I'm a lot less amenable to both parties of the same arguments than I ever have been. Anyway, I completely understand why Pat Dubois made this meme, because I do agree that Everyone Gets a Puppy is way too kind to Democrats. I definitely do think that Diarrhea Forever is pretty fair when it comes to Republicans. And so even if you were to change the meme to not Diarrhea Forever versus Diarrhea Forever, I think it would still work. Because as an American, it's often really hard to understand why half the country is always willing to vote for Diarrhea Forever. I can only imagine how hard it would be as a Canadian. Now, lots of people criticize Pat Dubois for making this observation as a Canadian. Like Maxime LaRouche said, "Haha, yeah, American politics does suck." Anyway, what kind of face did your Prime Minister do? Referring to the fact that Justin Trudeau, who was the Prime Minister at the time, did blackface. And multiple people made parodies of this meme, but about Canadian politics. Perhaps the best example of this is Rob Salerno, who said, "Watching Canadian politics is like, everyone gets a puppy, 25%. Everyone gets a puppy, but it's beige, 22%. Tout le monde aura un chien, 8%, which I know I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's French for everybody gets a puppy. Everyone gets a puppy and it's somehow more eco-friendly, 5%, and Diarrhea Forever, 40%, winner." Now, this is not really how Canadian politics work, because I believe that the top four would just make a coalition, but that's whatever. And beyond the specifics of American politics, this meme, this image, has become a way of demonstrating two choices where one is much better than the other, both in politics and not in politics. It's sort of like hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby, but about things where there's a choice involved. Like in the recent New York City mayoral election, Gone But Not Forgotten said Diarrhea Forever versus Everyone Gets a Puppy when talking about Andrew Cuomo and Zoran Mamdani. Nat posted results from the Czech election this year with, for those who don't understand, it was between Everyone Gets a Puppy and Diarrhea Forever won. And like I said, it can be used in non-election contexts. Like when Reeve posted, "You're joking, choose one character to join the principal cast," referring to something related to Genshin Impact. Case quoted that and said Everyone Gets a Puppy versus Diarrhea Forever. I don't know anything about these characters, so I will not judge whether this meme is accurate in this case. And where it definitely was accurate is where it was rumored that Rosalina in the new Super Mario Galaxy movie was going to be played by either Anne Hathaway or Awkwafina. Runner I said that was like Everyone Gets a Puppy versus Diarrhea Forever. Of course, the role ended up going to Brie Larson instead. Although, out of morbid curiosity, I would have loved to see, what is you talking about, Mario? Anyway, I think the reason why this meme is so durable is because I think people who want Everyone Gets a Puppy to win are so often perplexed by how many people are willing to vote for Diarrhea Forever. And yes, there are explanations as to why that's the case. Racial resentment, education polarization, all that stuff. And I understand a lot of that, I read a lot of that, but at the end of the day, I really am often like, but so many people are voting for Diarrhea Forever? And is it a little annoying that a Canadian person made this meme? Of course it is. But also, once again, being at the end of 2025, especially what happened in the first half of the year, I'm never really going to judge a Canadian for being interested and judgmental as to what's happening in American politics ever again. Yes, they obviously have their own problems, but I think we can give them at least 30 years of being able to mock us as much as they want. And I think it's our duty, for one, to try to make one of the parties Everyone Gets a Puppy, and to try to make that party win by more than 0.1%. I know that's a pipe dream, but we should try. Follow me for new tweet every day, and if you want to vote on Subscriber Sundays like these, you gotta join the Patreon. Patreon.com/Museum of Twitter, where you also get access to a weekly bonus episode called the Museum of Not Twitter.